Hello and welcome everyone to today's cloud coaching session. My name is Tara Van Cleve and I'm a marketing event manager for the developer initiative here at Oracle. Today we're excited to show you how to enhance Apex apps with embedded analytic dashboards. If you do not currently have an Oracle Cloud account, we've got a special promotion with extra credits so that you can try out OCI services and follow along with the demo today. To access the promo, please sign up using the same email that you registered with for the event. We'll also be recording the session, and the link to the recording will be sent to you via email in the next couple of days. If you have any questions during the webinar, we've set up a channel in our developer public Slack called Cloud Coaching North America that you can access at the QR code or at bit.ly/odevrel_Slack. Once you're in, you'll land in the general channel, and from there you can search for the webinar channel. We'll also be checking the Zoom chat and Zoom Q&A areas throughout the webinar, and we'll open up for live Q&A after the demo. Today's webcast will be presented by staff cloud engineers Becky Capelli, Shane Jayawardene, and Christian Arendando. So without further ado, I will hand it over to Becky.
Welcome everyone to Enhancing Apex Apps with Embedded Analytic Dashboards. I'm Becky Campelli, a staff cloud engineer here at Oracle, and I've been working with Oracle Analytics Cloud for coming up on 4 years. And hopefully I'll be able to share some of the joys of working with analytics with you, as well as the embedding of analytics back into Apex apps, which I hope will prove useful for you and your organization. Of course, I'm joined by Shane and Christian, my colleagues, and you'll hear their voices probably throughout the seminar. All right, so a question just to kick us off. Do you watch F1 racing? If you have an answer, please feel free to stick it in the chat. I just wanted to cover a couple fun F1 facts, just because, as you know, Oracle has collaborated with Red Bull Racing, and it's a fairly public partnership, but F1 racing is pretty high tech and cool. The F1 car can reach up to 360 kilometers per hour or 224 miles per hour during any given race. And during a run, the cockpit can heat up to 122 degrees Fahrenheit. And I was reading also that racers have 2 layers on their outfits, one to protect them from the heat and one to protect them in the case of collision during the race. But a driver can lose anywhere up to about 9 pounds or 4 kilograms of body weight due to the temperature in the cockpit during a race. So why F1 racing? Why am I bringing this up? Today we'll be using historical F1 race score data to predict scores of 2020 races using AutoML and using that within Oracle Analytics Cloud, which will create those visualizations that we will be embedding into Apex. Okay, so why embed Oracle Analytics into Apex? That will be our first point. And then we'll jump into an Oracle Analytics Cloud overview just to give you a feel for what the service is about. And then the architecture and demo will come next, where we'll apply an AutoML machine learning model in OAC and visualize the predicted versus actual score values, as mentioned. And then we will embed the analytic canvas into Apex. And of course, we'll follow up with a Q&A and a bonus session on the Oracle Code Innovate program. Please feel free to pop questions in the Q&A or chat as we go, and we'll definitely come around to those at the end. Okay, so embedding OAC visualizations into Apex. If you don't know yet, Oracle Apex is a low-code application platform that runs on top of Oracle Database. It makes things like streamlining spreadsheet processes a lot easier, where you can store data in a single source of truth and display to end users, whether that's database administrators, database users, or even business users. You can get applications standing up real quickly using your database data and do everything from extracts to loads through Apex applications and so much more. But Oracle Apex has its own reporting capabilities, which I wanted to mention here at the beginning because, why would we be introducing new reporting or new visualization capabilities in Apex using Analytics Cloud? And I just want to share a couple of benefits of using analytics in Apex. So Analytics Cloud, Oracle Analytics Cloud, also known as OAC, which I might refer to it during this section, has a bunch of advanced analytic capabilities, everything from auto insights, which offers you example visualizations based on any given data set, to natural language generation, which we'll see previewed later in the demo, and machine learning as well, which will be incorporated in today's demo, along with other things. But also in analytics, there are more visualization capabilities such as tag clouds, diverse types of map visualization. If you have a store layout and different regions of a superstore or something like that, you can map and visualize that way. And there's also custom visualizations that are offered through the analytics library and can be developed from scratch. So a third benefit of bringing OAC analytics into Apex is reducing time to insights. When you embed the analytic content straight into the Apex application, you can reduce number of logins for end users so that they're not going to two different bookmarks, and just show all the content in one place. Okay, so a little bit about Oracle Analytics Cloud. It's primarily for enterprise reporting, but data exploration is a big portion of it as well. So from end to end, whether you're connecting to data sources, modeling data collected from a lot of different sources, exploring your data and the variables that contribute to a certain outcome, or sharing your insights with the business, Analytics Cloud really covers the end-to-end analytics journey. This includes preparing data and enriching data, whether you're filtering it coming in from a data source and need only certain eyes to see your data and the visualizations. And there's also prediction capabilities, which we will see in the machine learning portion of analytics. So from connection to collaboration, here's just a couple of breakdowns of what features are included in analytics. You can connect to a lot of different Oracle resources, as you might suspect, and other data sources such as MySQL database, Snowflake, Apache Spark, and even importing flat files such as Excel and CSV files. So the highlighted bricks are what we'll be looking at today. Data enrichment with machine learning models and AutoML and AI insights will be the first portion of the demo. And then the interactive data visualization and dashboards we'll be able to see when we display the results of the machine learning and prove predicted versus actuals. And then the embedded form of sharing this content will be demonstrated as well for your enterprise deployment. There's a lot of different other things here that I'm not touching on, such as mobile analytics, self-service data sets, and pushing toward self-service. We see a lot of customers moving toward self-service data and decentralizing building of reports using Analytics Cloud, since that takes a load off of IT or business analysts. Okay, so I also made a nod earlier to Oracle Analytics visualization types being more diverse than what might be available within Apex. Some of the ones that we'll look at today are line chart, which of course is available also in Apex, but language narrative and tag clouds I'll be using in some of the visualizations of today's demo. And you can see just a lot of different types of visualizations like maps and, of course, your run-of-the-mill tables and pie charts, etc. Another key portion of Oracle Analytics Cloud is the data flow operations. Data flows are used for importing and transforming data, and we will use data flows to apply our AutoML model today. AutoML, I've made a couple mentions of it so far, but this is a feature added to Oracle Machine Learning in the database, which makes it easier for citizen data scientists to take up creating machine learning models, and with not necessarily a high amount of expertise in knowing what models to use. And so that is what I've done in preparation for this demo, is created an AutoML model, which we'll be applying in Analytics Cloud to create those visualizations to embed in Apex. All right, one note about a feature coming soon to Oracle Analytics Cloud is one-click AutoML will be added to data flows quite soon. This was revealed in last month's Oracle Analytics Live. And if you are looking for a way to extend machine learning to business users, AutoML is a great way to offer a service that will select the proper machine learning model for you based on your target prediction variable. And so just keep an eye out for that coming soon. All right, we have entered the demo portion here, and we're going to just want to give a high-level overview. These are the products being used today. The Oracle Red Bull Racing data is stored in Autonomous Database. Data Warehouse is the flavor that I've used, and the Analytics Cloud platform will ingest that data and will visualize in Analytics and import the visualizations, embedding them in Apex. All right, so demo part 1 of 3. Let's apply an AutoML model in Oracle Analytics Cloud data flows. So let me share my screen. Okay, so this is our Oracle Cloud home. I just want to give you a preview of where OML or AutoML kind of resides. If we click on Autonomous Data Warehouse, we get the database that I'm using. And once we click into this database, we get, of course, the database screen where when we click on database actions, we can see this interface lending us a portal to Apex workspaces, REST data services, etc. But if we click on Oracle Machine Learning and navigate to AutoML within Machine Learning, you can see here that I've run this machine learning model using AutoML. And we'll take a look at the data used for this in just a minute. Okay, so what we'll be using today is the generalized linear model, and with the mean absolute error of 0.72. And so with that background of AutoML, let's jump into Oracle Analytics Cloud. So the Oracle Analytics Cloud interface, you can see a lot going on here. Everything from data sets to workbooks that have already been created with visualizations included. Here's just an example of best worst race comparison in Analytics Cloud. And we'll see this later embedded into Apex as the preview. This shows race position changes throughout races by lap. Kind of cool way to look at how many lines are crossing and what frequency and where during the race in terms of laps. So that's just an example of some visualizations in OAC. But a lot of the things that we can do in analytics are started either with the create button here, to create a workbook based on a data set we already have imported, create a data set based on a connection we've already created. And we can also create connections, to the autonomous data warehouse or any of those other diverse connections that were previewed. Google Analytics, Spark, a lot of different types of data sources. But I've connected to an autonomous data warehouse for the purpose of this demo today. Once we import the machine learning model, we are going to create a data flow, but we'll have to import the machine learning model first. So here I'm going to go into the dots and register a model or function and register a machine learning model. And I get to choose which database I'm pulling the machine learning model off of. And of course, it's the Red Bull database. And I want to select the GLM one that I highlighted on the other tab. It's a generalized linear model. And you can see that there's a confidence level here of 0.95. So we'll register that model. Okay, now that the model is registered, we can see it under machine learning models. And of course, this is where we're going to navigate for most of our actions within OAC. So since we have the model imported, let's create a data flow. It's going to ask us which data we want to do the machine learning model on. And I'm going to select the races data set, which is a table represented in the database. All right, we've got some columns here like race ID, year, score, which is very important here. Wet weather, year, race count. And basically, these factors are all going to play into what is the prediction for the score in 2020. So speaking of 2020, let's add a filter to this data and make sure we're just talking about the year 2020. All right, so this will filter out our incoming data set just to show the year 2020 races. And we're going to add the machine learning model at this stage. You can see there's other types of machine learning models that can be done in Oracle Analytics data flows, anything from numeric predictions, linear regressions, binary classifiers, clustering. So it's worth checking out. Okay, so when we're bringing in this model, we could bring in any of the other columns that were generated by the running of this model in AutoML if we wanted to, the weights and conditions if we wanted to see the inner workings of the machine learning model. But we're just going to bring prediction for now. And we're going to select the columns to output from this so we have a clean data set to do our analysis on. So we're going to choose race ID, the name year, the score, okay, and the prediction, of course. And you can see these accumulating on the right-hand side for what columns are going to come through to the save data step, which is going to necessarily save the data back into the database. And we will name this predicted scores. We'll want to save this data, race ID as an attribute, and then the score can be numerical and the prediction can be numerical. I'll name the data set. Okay, so what we've done here is we've created a flow of steps, taken the data, filter it, apply the model, select the columns out, and save it. And so we'll have to save this flow before we can execute it. Using the GLM model. and then we'll run it. And this will take about a minute to run here. So if you have a moment, or if you can find the chat, have you guys interacted with Oracle Analytics Cloud in the past? You can, if so, you can say OAC. Nice. Cool. And if you've worked with Apex in the past, feel free to enter an Apex in the chat. We have some Apex enthusiasm going on. Some exclamation points. Good stuff. Okay. So it's good to get a little bit of a read on our crowd here. And some of you have used OAC, and that's cool to hear. And Apex, of course, is a fan favorite. So great to hear. All right, so our machine learning model has completed, and we can view that data output right here in our data sets. And I'm going to start a new workbook by just clicking on this data set. All right, and we'll see those columns come in that we had before. The race ID, the name, year, score, and prediction. Let me bring in the name, year, score, and prediction. I can just click and drag. It'll create an auto visualization. Scatter isn't the most helpful for me, so let me create a line chart and stick both of the numerical values in the lines in the Y values axis. Okay, so here we have a visualization of the predicted versus actual values, prediction being blue and the actuals being orange. Okay, so there's a couple more things we're going to do here in visualization before we go embedding this into Apex. There's a couple of configurations to set, and then also some other visualizations I would like to show. So if we want to look at the difference between the predicted versus actual values of this, we can add a calculation. And we're just going to go say difference and say absolute value of score minus prediction. And it auto completes there. You can see, and we'll validate it and save. And once we get that new numerical value on here, we will stick it in our y-axis box. And change its type to a bar, just so that it's kind of identified as a different metric. So some races, you know, the score was more off than others. It looks like the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix was the closest prediction. So just another way you can visualize the difference there. Let's rename this canvas to predicted score, predicted versus actual. And we're going to create another canvas just to show some of the other types of ways we can visualize this data. Let's take a name, year, and a score. And of course, it creates a bar chart for us, not in any particular order, perhaps just alphabetical. And what we're going to want to do here is change it to a tag cloud. Okay, so what this is showing is by relative size, which races had the most, highest score. And we're going to just enrich it a little bit by bringing score in for color as well, since the size isn't super distinguishable on this example. And let's do another visualization with the the difference versus race ID. So the difference by race ID between the predicted and actual scores. And I'm going to pick a visualization here this time. And I'm going to choose the language narrative. Okay. So reading through here, let's see, actually, let's replace the name here with the race ID. Okay, so if we look through here, we can kind of see a English description, just a natural language description of, the difference between the predicted versus actual. Like we saw on this, the bars for Abu Dhabi, Belgian Grand, and the Styrian Grand Prix are selected out in this analysis. Abu Dhabi, Belgian, and Styrian Grand Prix are the three largest in terms of difference, 1.03 on average. And then going down from there, it's just a kind of natural language write-up of summary of what the data that's there. And you can see that it, of course, changes dynamically based on what data is placed, and it can be filtered. So we'll rename this to more visualizations. Okay, so we have some visualizations. We have some visualizations that we want to embed into Apex. Let's see a little preview of what that looks like in Apex. I've got my Apex screen up here. I'm logged into my workspace, and I've created an application with some examples in it already, OAC embed. And I'm going to go through the process of creating a page with you that shows that content. But let's just preview what we're going to look at. So the OAC content embed here is going to be very similar to the project that we've already created. Ooh. Okay. So we can see some of the visuals here. And this is something like the eventual output that we're going to create. I've also created a side-by-side, a representation of what Apex can do with its dashboarding. But let's go back to the Apex application and create a page. But before we do that, we need to set a couple settings in Analytics Cloud. There's a couple different modes for editing a workbook, which I want to save before I forget. Readable, predict versus actual. And we'll save that in Red Bull Racing. Okay, visualize we have here. We can also look at the data underlying, but let's go to the present tab. And this is going to give us the most, I guess, polished look in our eventual Apex application. You could see here that there's no, after it loads, this header bar disappears. So it's a more clean look. And then you can see, you can add the option to see these tabs or not on the bottom. And let's just add the content that we're going to want our end users to see in the embedded version. Okay, got two canvases here. And in order to tweak those parameters we just talked about with the header bar and the tabs, we will come in here. Of course, you can see show bottom tabs. If you don't want the tabs to show and you just want to show one canvas and not offer any navigation, none would be your best bet. So I'll just do none, and we'll select canvas 1. Show header bar, we're going to turn that off. Okay, and then we're going to save this. And we could preview in Analytics Cloud what that's going to look like once it's embedded. You can see there's no tabs on the bottom. There's only a filter bar, and we can still interact with it. We can modify that setting as well. But that's basically what it's going to look like once we embed. And we're going to want to take this URL here for the embed eventually. But before we do that, we have to tweak one more setting within Oracle Analytics Cloud, which is adding a safe domain. So we're going to take the let's see. Yeah, we're going to take this domain here from Apex and navigate back to Analytics, Home, and then we'll look at the console. So under the console, we can register this safe domain. You can see I've added a bunch of them here already. But I just want to show the process for you in case you've never done this before. So mine already exists, but so I won't have trouble displaying this data, but what you can do is check off the embedding capability, and that will allow you to embed this content, this analytic content, in the app of the domain that you've chosen. Okay, so let's take a trip back to the workbook we were just in and grab this URL. Okay, so with this URL, we can, I'm just going to save it to the side here in a text pad, and we're going to create a page. There's no need to add anything fancy. If you want to, you can, but we're going to use a blank page. And we will say, we see embed ML results demo. Nah, I'll remove demo. Okay, we'll create that page. And you might see my layout is a little bit different than what you usually do. I like to keep my layout on the right-hand side and select regions and drag them here. And then the attributes will show up on the left-hand side. So what we're going to use here is a static content block and paste that right into body. And with this region selected, we can edit some categories here in the region. We'll just say, let's see, auto ML prediction results. And we have the opportunity to paste in here a block of HTML code. And I'm going to paste that in here because I have it available and ready on the side with an example link already in there, which I will be replacing. Okay, so breaking down this iframe, we've got a source URL in quotes, of course, and then a style tag with which we can adjust the width and height. You can play with it as you please for the display that you want. And then an optional title. It won't display on the front end though. So I'm going to take my link, which I reserved, and add it to my source URL, replacing the one that's here. Okay. So we have the iframe ready, and let's just save this page and execute it. Adds a page on the left. And with my 700 pixels by 800 pixels, we got this little window in here. If we wanted to show those tabs on the bottom, all we have to do is go back to Analytics Cloud in the edit mode of the present and add the bottom tabs on there and save it. And head back to Apex and reload. And now you get that option to see both tabs. You can also just play with the display here. I want it probably to be a little wider. Okay, so it renders a bit wider. Of course, you probably want dynamic display just in case someone resizes the window. But here you got the displayed Oracle Analytics data within Apex. And one thing to note is that it's possible to filter your Apex data, filter your Analytics Cloud visualizations based on Apex filters that you have on the page. So I haven't prepared that for this demo, but if you had, a report with filters, a drop-down filter that you wanted to use to filter an entire visualization, be it a variable for who gets to see what data, a column value, you can filter based on parameters that you have already brought in from your database, and use those filters as top-level filters to modify the display of your OAC visualizations as well. So let me change my screen share back to our PowerPoint. So we've walked through 3 sections here. This is redundant, but the sources I've used to create this lab are an OAC product management blog, embedding OAC in Apex. You will find that there's a lot more ways to embed OAC visualizations into Apex using JavaScript. And then that interactivity between Apex filtering and OAC is also detailed in this document. The visualizations and data came from Oracle Machine Learning with Red Bull Racing. And then if you want to dig into learning anything more about OAC, here's kind of like a lookbook that you can check on. And of course, if you want to dig into the documentation, it's very thorough as well. So what we've learned from today is how to apply an AutoML machine learning model in Oracle Analytics Cloud, how to visualize predictions versus actual, along with tag clouds and language narrative visualizations, and how to embed analytics content into Apex. So I'll pass the presentation now over to Christian.
Thank you, Becky. Hey, everybody. My name is Christian, and I'm a program manager and cloud engineer with the Oracle Code Innovate team. All right, so I'm just going to do a quick little overview of the Oracle Code Innovate program. So our manager likes to take a trip every year with his family to Legoland, and at Legoland, they attend this Master Builder class. So the way this Master Builder class works is that you're given a bag of Lego pieces. And then this gentleman in the top right, who is what they call a master builder, his object of the class is to walk you through and learn a certain technique for the event. So during this time, you learn a specific technique. You are hands on the blocks while he is guiding you through these kind of base level knowledge, so that after the class, you're able to retain that knowledge and move forward with that to continue using that technique, expanding on it in your own time. So what is Virtual Code Innovate? So here at Oracle, what we've done is we've created a 5-day or 5 half-day online event, and it kind of follows the same structure of that Master Builder class. We bring our Master Builders, our engineers in, and we give you the opportunity to work hands-on in the cloud service. That allows you to understand those basic techniques. It allows you to be in an environment where you're constantly learning. You're learning the base level knowledge, you're learning the best practices, and it gives you the opportunity to instill this knowledge within yourself so that moving forward, you're more comfortable, you're more empowered, and you're able to build these in your own time. The Virtual Code Innovate program leverages your use cases. So what you're encountering day to day in your work environment, we're addressing those, and we're walking you through how to work through those in the future. So how Code Innovate works is we discuss with you, we talk with you, we do discovery on use cases that you bring to us. This allows us to gain some insights into your day-to-day work, anything that may occur in your day-to-day or anything you want to improve on. And then we work together to deep dive on those use cases and address them in the best way possible from our side. This allows for a rapid knowledge share. So as we're doing this discovery, we're learning with you, you're learning with us. We're setting up the best practices, we're setting up the best trajectory for success within your team. During the event, we work with you for 4 hours a day, so it's half days. And this really allows a lot of development time and build time in a safe working environment. And so the end goal of this is, once we've discussed those use cases, once we've got the goal in sight, we're helping you build a first pass prototype. So basically what that means is, by the end of the event, we've worked with you within your tenancy, you've been hands-on keyboard. When you walk away from this event, you will have a first pass prototype to continue to build off of, to use as a guideline for anything you may want to build in the future. And that way, you know exactly what you need to do to build success on your end as well. So if this is something that interests you, I'll leave this slide up. You can contact us at codeinnovate_us_group or grp@oracle.com. And if you're interested in something like this, please share your email address and name in the chat, and we will be able to reach out to you. And so I'll leave this up for a minute, Tara, while I pass back to you.
So with that, I will go ahead and conclude our session for today. Thank you all again for joining us, and we hope to see you again at the next one.